Hey guys, Mike here with Nerd Problems Gaming, the channel where we go through the good and bad of everything nerdy to make sure you spend your time on the best of the best. In today's video, I'll be doing a review of the book Of Blood and Bone by Nora Roberts, so let's get into it. So this book is actually book 2 in the Chronicles of the One, and so the book itself really follows and takes place after the first book in the series, Year 1. And so in that book, it was basically a virus called Doom wiped out almost all of the population across the world. And then what happens is the people that are left, a fraction of them, start to develop magical powers. And so they're called basically the Uncanny. And so you follow the journey of the two groups of people, basically the parents of Fallon Swift, the One, in this book, and then also basically a group of people that form together a village called New Hope. And this is kind of like the city where all the good people live, right? And so they're battling the crazy people across the world, right? Raiders, evil dark mages, the dark uncanny, even the purity warriors, which are basically this religious cult that are trying to kill everyone with a magical background. Plus the government is also abducting people, trying to study them that do have magical powers. So a lot's going on. I likened it kind of to The Walking Dead, but with magic and a twist instead of zombies. And so that's really kind of the foundation of the first book. And then this book takes place about 14 years later. So New Hope has developed. Fallon and her family are more established, and it's basically she is charged to be the One, right? So she is the One. You find that out in the last book. She's basically just born, and now it's 14 years later, and she is going to be trained on how to use her magical powers and become that leader, that person she needs to basically be the One and lead the light side or the light magics to victory against the evil dark magics. And so you really just follow her journey throughout this, and she goes and trains with the wise sage Malik and basically teaches her the ways of the One, helps her hone her skills, learn her magical powers, and just become the warrior and leader she needs to be. And so that's really kind of the gist of the book that it follows and goes through, and then really just preparing New Hope and building this foundation of an army to battle the darkness, which is pretty much what, to my understanding, the third book is going to be about. And so, you know, the story itself is not anything revolutionary in a sense of, you know, you have rebellious youth going to learn from wise sage on how to become, you know, the savior, right? Or the One in this case. And so that's kind of been done a lot in fantasy and movies all over the place. So that's not necessarily new, but that doesn't mean that it's bad by any means, right? It definitely works. I really enjoyed this story. The descriptions are awesome. And it's also kind of like a coming of age story as well, with Fallon, the One, kind of learning her place in the world and stepping up into adulthood and being the person that she needs to be to really lead the masses as the One. And so you see kind of the intricacies behind the scenes with her family developing, kind of learning to let go. Her parents, you know, she's going to be the One and coming to terms with that, and then kind of letting her go to, you know, spread her wings and, you know, really step into her leadership and her abilities. And so it's cool to follow that journey through the story, and I really like that, and I think it does a really good job of that. And then also just really building up for the third book. And so I'm really excited to read that. You know, after reading this one, it's a great continuation of the first book in the series, Year 1. And another thing that I like about the series as well is that it takes place, you know, in modern times. So recent history, if the world came to an end, a massive virus broke out and took out a big portion of the population. Weird. But you know, it's not like anything that could happen like that, right? But anyway, you know, at the same time, people kind of developing these magic powers throughout it is cool because it takes, you know, a fantasy setting, things like fairies and wizards and witches and magical powers and all these different things, and then combines them with that modern day presence, but then also kind of like a post-apocalyptic world as well. So again, I really think that it's similar to like a Walking Dead kind of feel. You know, New Hope kind of reminds me of like Alexandria in that show, you know, where you have this village of survivors that are building up, kind of establishing their own structure, their own government, and dealing with that, but then also dealing with the outside issues of like the purity warriors and the raiders and the dark magics and all those different things really come together in this book very well. And so I highly recommend this series. I like it a lot so far. I'm excited to read the third one, but let me know in the comments below if you read this book, if you enjoy it, if you like this installment in the series. Definitely let me know in the comments below. But again, I would highly recommend picking this book up, Of Blood and Bone, the second book in the Chronicles of the One. Obviously, read year 1 first, because that one's great too, and you'd be kind of lost if you just jumped in the middle of the story. But this does a good job of really setting the scene, developing characters as a whole. And like I said, I'm really looking forward to reading the third book in the series, The Rise of Magic. So definitely stay tuned for a review on that, but go check out these books in the meantime. Really enjoy them, but let me know again in the comments below if there's other great fantasy books I should read, survival books, kind of like a Walking Dead scenario type thing, apocalyptic world. Definitely great books like that out there, and would love to learn more about them. But definitely pick up a copy of this book. If you haven't, there'll be a link in the description below where you can do so as well. But again, guys, thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to smash that like button and subscribe and turn on those bell notifications to get the latest updates of new nerd videos we put out here. And if you'd like to help us support the channel, pick out content and more, consider becoming a patron of ours over at nerdproblemsgaming.com/Patreon. And then you can follow our live streams and Let's Plays we do on the channel here as well over on Twitch at nerdproblemsgaming.com/Twitch. But once again, thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you more soon.